Good afternoon. My name is Gwen Morris, and I am the Department Chair for Psychology and Social Work here at Meredith College. I have the honor today of welcoming each of you to the 2023 Masters of Arts in Psychology Hooding Ceremony. I'm so pleased to be here today to celebrate the achievements of the 2023 candidates for Masters of Arts in Psychology, Industrial Organization Concentration. This is a day of celebration and recognition. 2 years ago, you embarked on an educational journey to become scientist practitioners who desire to improve the effectiveness of organizations and the work-life quality of employees. You built a strong foundation through challenging coursework, collaborative study, and practical experience. Now it's time to pause, reflect, celebrate, and prepare to enter the world backed by the mentoring of your IO faculty and the strength of your Meredith education. We celebrate today with a time-honored tradition of the academic hooding ceremony. Originating from the 11th century European universities, the academic hood distinguishes a student with a commitment to scholarly life. The hood's colors reflect the Graduate School of Study in satin and the various academic majors in velvet. So, the maroon and white on your hood represents Meredith College, and the gold represents the field of psychology. The hood serves as an expression of tradition and a collective pursuit of academic endeavors for life. We bestow these hoods on you today with pride and empower you to use this day as a celebratory runway as you soar into the world. Without further ado, I would like to introduce your graduate speaker, Meredith Odekirk.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so honored to be here today to celebrate my amazing cohort. It's hard to believe that 2 years ago we were sitting at first year orientation, getting through those first day icebreakers, and learning who the greatest competition would be in semester trivia. Thanks to Joe, we now know that there are 3,073 miles between Seattle and Orlando, and a group of otters is called a romp. But more importantly, during that first week, we shared how each of us came to be students in the IO Psychology program and what we hoped to accomplish by the end of our 2 years together. The question we found ourselves asking the most over the course of this program, other than how to save a data set in R, was, what is IO Psychology? To all the family members in the room with us today, when your student first came to you and said they were applying to this program, how many of you had to do a Google search on what an IO psychologist is? And you still cheered us on despite having absolutely no idea what field we were going into. I remember when I told my own family I was interested in this program, once they got over the laugh of Meredith Odekirk attending Meredith College, the conversation was about how a degree in IO psychology would help me achieve my dream of working in higher education. Most IO psychologists go into business or consulting roles, so would this program give me the skills I'd need to do something different? Every single one of us came into this program with a vision or a goal that we wanted to achieve, and we hoped that this degree would get us there. Throughout the program, we realized that an IO psychologist isn't even known to the world as an IO psychologist. That in itself is a rare job title, which made internship searching pretty difficult. There isn't really an IO psychologist mold to fit into. But in the end, that's the beauty of our field. The world may not know what an IO psychologist is, but the world certainly couldn't live without us. Whether it's burnout and work-life balance after the COVID-19 pandemic, or recent developments in technology and the use of big data, the workplace is changing at an unprecedented rate. As people retire from the workforce, employers are seeking help to develop the next generation of global leaders, to motivate them and help them grow, and to ensure that their strategies support employees from all backgrounds. The questions that face our society today are the very questions that we as IO psychologists are equipped to answer. Our time here at Meredith has prepared us to enter this world of unknowns and to solve the problems that are critical to a thriving workforce. We graduate today with a breadth of knowledge in organizational development, social behavior, and research methods. We're trained in recruitment and selection, training and development, and the structure of work. We've developed skills in problem solving, data analysis, and business ethics. And we can explain all of that in a 90-second elevator ride with the CEO. But most importantly, just as the mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell, remember to always start with a job analysis and to avoid using pie charts at all costs. The average person spends over 1/3 of their life at work. That's roughly 90,000 hours. So what greater purpose is there than helping others fulfill their purpose in the world? To make sure employees are motivated and satisfied in their careers. That is what IO psychology is. And as for who we're going to be, we graduate today knowing our degree can be applied in so many different ways, leading to an infinite number of opportunities to make a difference. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. Thanks to the guidance and encouragement of our professors, the love and support of our biggest cheerleaders who sit in this room with us today, and because of the hard work and dedication that each of us has poured into this program since day one, we have become the IO psychologists we have decided to be, and we're always meant to be. Already among our graduates today is an HR business partner at Collins Aerospace, supporting the global aerospace and defense industry. A DEI program manager, creating an inclusive environment for those in the healthcare profession. An HR recruiter at Chapel Hill Tire. A people operations associate at E78 Partners, and a learning and development specialist at Toshiba, all specializing in the recruitment, selection, and training of talented individuals so they can best support their community. A senior HR coordinator in the Pharmaceutical Product Development Unit of Thermo Fisher Scientific. A Presidential Management Fellow, which is a prestigious leadership development program placing graduates in top management positions of federal government agencies. And a research associate at Dunlap and Associates, serving those in government, industry, and legal professions. I myself achieved my goal of working in higher education and work as a Faculty Affairs Program Associate at UNC Chapel Hill. I can't wait to see how each of us will change the world for the better. And should we ever need a class reunion, there's always a table at Bittersweet or a vineyard in Tuscany that patiently awaits us. Thank you all, and congratulations to the class of 2023.
Hello. Those of you that don't know me, I'm Joe Mazzola. I am the director of the IO Psychology program here, and along with my colleagues, both here and not able to attend, I've had the honor of teaching and advising these students the last 2 years. My first task up here is to present our leadership award for the class of 2023. When we decided to create this award, we made a point to say that leaders do not fit any one mold or idea that we may have, about what a great leader is or does. They can be outgoing leaders, or they can be quiet ones. They can be leading from the front of the classroom or as part of the pack. They can be leading based on consideration or based on initiating structure. And that's something that only they get, and even then only if they pay attention to my class. For that reason, it's always hard to give this award out every year, because looking out, I see 14 leaders with various leadership styles and strengths. But since I helped create the award, I have no one to blame but myself for that conundrum, so I guess we'll go ahead and pick somebody. When talking about this year's recipient, this individual showed leadership by taking our day one advice to heart, that a lot of the learning in graduate school happens outside of the classroom, and thus using every possible chance over the next 2 years to add to not only their IO toolbox, but their life one as well, and setting a shining example for lifelong learning. Leadership for them was always handling difficulties they encountered with class and patience, and taking it as an opportunity for growth, searching for what lessons could be learned and how to navigate similar situations in the future. And leadership was showing a deep care for their fellow classmates, faculty, staff, colleagues, and wanting to make their lives and experiences better each and every day. On a personal note, our interactions always brought a smile to my face. There are so many things I could say about this year's recipient, but I will attempt to be brief for a change. This year's award goes to Luisa Armijo. Having been here since day one of this program, it's hard for me to believe that you are already the 4th cohort to come into and complete this program. And yet, as I think of this very unique group, what I actually think of it as a cohort of firsts. The first to have a fully in-person experience in our program, minus a few hiccups here and there. The first to go back to our Italy program excursion. And having just come back from this year's program, I can tell you, Sarah says ciao. The first to have 2 full-time program faculty, as well as to help us transition from our wonderful Claire, we miss you, we hope you're doing great in Colorado, to our incredible new manager, Doreen, who along with that second faculty, Jenna, has taken the program to new places not possible until now. And I know all of you, very soon to be alumni, will go out and continue to make more firsts, both firsts for our program and firsts for yourselves as individuals. You have all personally helped to usher this program into a new era, and for that, thank you. As I look out today over all of you, I see so much growth and individuality. People who are afraid to speak up in discussion or give presentations, who now stood in front of large groups and made incredible speeches. People who had little idea of what they wanted to do, who are now in or starting amazing jobs, many of which Meredith listed, thank you very much, that fit their skills and desires. And people who are still finding their specific place in the IO world, but know more about what they want to do, how to look for it, and having the skill set necessary to do those jobs. And that too is growth. I see people who made us laugh, and people who've had to cry a few times. I'm sure my assignments were sometimes the reason, and for that I apologize. Perhaps most importantly, I see 14 people who gave their all, looked out for one another, and have gone from future IO psychologists to current ones. People who have earned the right to sit in those chairs today, and then some. All of these students, and anyone who's ever seen my very cluttered office shelves, knows that I have a love for movies and pop culture. Thus, I started a tradition last year of including a movie reference in each of my graduation speeches. Today, I want to talk to you about a young man from the 80s by the name of Ferris Bueller. Now, Ferris often liked to skip school, so maybe he's an odd choice to discuss at graduation. But he was also friends with the sportos, geeks, motorheads, and dweebies, and they all thought he was a righteous dude. So maybe he was a little ahead of his time. Anyways, Ferris said, life moves pretty fast. If you don't take a chance to look around once in a while, you might miss it. When you sat on the other end of campus just 18 months ago, this day probably seemed a million miles away. And yet, here you sit, despite all the assignments, the late nights, and the endless emails from me. I'm betting it all went by pretty fast. So today is the day to take that chance to look around, to reflect on your hard work, the knowledge learned, and experiences had. Soak this day in with your family and friends because you deserve it for all that you did to get here. The future can wait until tomorrow, a future that I know will be bright for each and every one of you, and we will always be right here to support you or for those reunions that Meredith talked about. Today, your life and this enormous accomplishment of yours is right here, so don't miss it. And with that, we will now move to the hooding of the Meredith IO Psychology Program Class of 2023.
Saba Amiri. Kristen Avetta. Alexi Bachelor. Devin Nicole Gaden. Luisa Fernanda Jaramillo. Brett Johnson. Angel Kuhn. Malcolm Kyle. Miller.
That's my sister!
Anna Kathleen Miller. Meredith Odeker. Trevor Pelkey. Anthony Ruiz Wilson. Emma Spears.
Please join me again in congratulating the class of 2003. That concludes our ceremony, but to continue to celebrate these awesome people, we hope that you'll join us in the lobby for a sparkling juice toast and some light refreshments.